And hi, everyone. This is Kate Byers. I am the founder of Corporate Women Unleashed, and we have a really exciting client interview today. Kristen, who is an IT exec, is here to share her story. She's had a phenomenal success. She had a banner year in 2019. And I'm really grateful that she's here to share, because I think as women, we need to do this more. If we share our stories and get to know what's possible, it can really inspire someone else. So Kristen, thank you so much for being here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're just going to jump in. And Kristen, I always think it's kind of cool to start with really like where you've landed. So what are some of the results you would say? Like, how is life different today than maybe it was a year ago when we first started working together?
Yeah, sure. I think the quick answer would be I have much more confidence in all aspects of my life, whether it's work, health, parenting, and marriage. And the program gave me the tools to maintain that confidence. So I have that reference point to go back to if I feel myself slipping into my old ways and habits. So ultimately, that just drives everything else in my life.
Ooh, I love that. And I love that you mentioned that, because I think that's a big part of our mission, is that you have tools that are sustainable, not just, oh, that was great, and then it, goes away, that you are able to refer back. So you found that to be helpful, that if you feel yourself going like, oh, that's not what I want to do, you can just sort of do a recalibration.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, life ebbs and flows in all areas, and we go through busy periods and low periods, and so it's easy, although you have this program to get you through where you are at that point in time, it doesn't mean that it's sustained at that level forever, because things change in life in all aspects. And so it's nice to know, okay, wait, now I have this challenge. I haven't had it before. I feel myself going down a path I don't want to go. Okay, let me remember how I got out of this situation before, or a similar situation before, and apply that to the new situation.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And that's a big piece where the confidence comes from, is just knowing what to do, which is awesome. Okay. So
Correct.
where would you say you were at before you came to CW? Like, what brought you here? What was like maybe not working, or what was it that you wanted that you weren't seeing for yourself?
Right. So I was in a place about a year ago, so not that long ago, that I felt like I could cry every day just because of how many things weren't going right, or were going not the way I had envisioned them. And even the slightest hiccup in the day, like somebody not letting me in traffic, would cause this slew of emotions, negative emotions. And so I was also in a place where I felt, in order to be happy, I needed to quit my job and just totally revamp my entire life and revamp my career.
Yes. Yeah. I can so relate to that. I used to too. I would just like drive in traffic like this. And like you're saying, someone cuts you off, and it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back for that day. And you're just in tears, or you're just.
Exactly. Yeah. I was at that place.
Yeah. It stinks. Yes. I know
Yes.
it well. So yeah. And I remember you talking, and we had some pretty serious conversations a year ago about, maybe I need to find something else. I mean, because that's where we all go to, right? Which is,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't working, maybe I need a new job. This isn't working, maybe I need to do something different. But like a lot of us women, you're in a position where if you change your job, it could potentially really impact your family's lifestyle and some of the choices
Yep.
you're able to make for your kids and things like that. So it's like, it's a scary place to be. Did you feel trapped? Did you just feel like you were doing something wrong? Like, how did it, I don't know.
So I felt trapped, and I felt like that was the only way out. I didn't know of another way out.
Mm-hmm.
And, so over my life, I'm always looking for ways to improve and elevate my life. And I just got into a place where I couldn't find a way out. And so I was looking for something drastic to find that way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a massive lifestyle change, job change.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So why was it so important for you to fix it though? In other words, because that had been going on for a little bit of time, it doesn't just happen overnight. So was there anything that happened in your life where you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, now's the time to find some solutions?
Sure. Well, as I said, I'm always looking for solutions to elevate. At that point in time, though, I was in the middle of a project that was going bad at work. Almost anything that you think of that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
And I didn't see a way out of that project. I didn't see a way or a road to happiness. And, I had to do something to change. And I stumbled upon this program happenstance, and yeah, so I just was at such a low point. I needed to find a way out.
Yeah. Got it. So just the pressure of the job, the tears, you're on an emotional edge. You're like, this is not how I want to live life, kind of a thing. Okay. Got it. What else did you try, Kristen? Because I know you are someone who works a lot on their, self-development. You're always looking for ways to stretch and grow. Like, were there other things you had tried to specifically address this issue?
So some small items, I had thoughts, well, if I declutter my life, or if I decorate my house the way I want to, or if I find a healthy weight, or if I tackle all my tasks using productivity strategies like GTD, so if I did those things, I would be happier, more able to manage the challenges I was facing. So those were some of the things that I spent some time and money on trying, but they didn't get me anywhere. Just got me more frustrated and gave me another thing that I couldn't do right.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, and then you don't even get that done, and then you beat yourself up because you didn't do that right. And it's like,
right.
Okay. Totally can relate to that as well. How did you find us? Did we find you? Did we find you on social, or did someone recommend, or how did you?
So I found you through a Facebook ad that popped up on my newsfeed.
Oh, you did? And you just were like, boom, I'm just going to push it.
Yeah. I happened to be working from home that day. And it was one of those where I cannot drag myself into the office. I'm working from home. And so throughout the day, I'll periodically go to Facebook just as a, kind of a 5-minute break, distraction, correct. And I saw the ad and I watched it, and it made sense. Because I watch all kinds of ads, and it's like, okay, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But it made sense. And I listened to the free class, and I had never heard the concepts, but I thought, wow, this could actually work.
Yeah. And it did. That's so awesome.
It sure did.
Well, what's cool? So we have to take a pause right there. So did you quit your job and go change your life?
I did not. I did not.
So what happened at work instead, though? So just like finish that story for us, maybe.
Yeah. So because I had gained that confidence, and I had that problematic project going on, I was co-leading, and I always had this internal feeling that it was my fault. Yeah. Now, through the program, I was able to look at that through a different lens, and I helped get past the issues, took the emotion out of it, and it helped me to identify, okay, where are we now? Where do we need to get to, and what do we need to do to get there? And then after executing those steps, I was offered a promotion because of what I'd been through. So ironically, the challenging project that I felt looked poorly on my performance was recognized by executive management as a positive.
Yeah. And didn't you get another sort of recognition right before you got that promotion, though?
I did, yes. So I was recognized with a increase for the work on the project, and then a few months later was given a promotion.
I love that, because I remember when you told us about the salary increase, and it was, by the way, a significant one. That's all I'm going to say. Like one of those ones you go, really, you're handing that out? So that was sweet, but it was so fun because it wasn't like you were going after it. You didn't necessarily act for it. It was just, you were starting to show up differently in your workspace and how you were, and how you managed this project, and you were noticed. Like, hello.
Exactly. Yes.
Love that. Yeah. I love that, from quitting your job to like there. You know what I'm saying? And we see this all the time. And you know this, Kristen, because we've worked together for a year. I mean, so many of the people that we work with, they're at that point where they're like, I just have to leave my job. And then it turns out you don't have to leave your job. Your job is actually amazing. You just need to like show up differently in your job and start operating differently. And it becomes like an up leveling. All right, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
What was one of the first crazy things we told you to do? Was there anything that you were like, because again, as someone who's done a lot of different, kind of things to work on yourself, was there anything that you were like, this is really nuts? What are these people talking about?
This is really nuts. Nothing stood out as being really nuts. Yeah. The closest I could get to that is all the journaling.
Right.
But as you know, I'm not the best journaler.
Right.
But there's a place for each of them, each of the the journal entries have a purpose and there's a time and place. You don't need to do all those all at the same time. So again, getting back to the tools, okay, I know if my esteem is lacking, okay, well, let me go write some entries in my esteem journal, or let me go read the entries in my esteem journal.
Yeah.
And then that helps elevate. And I'm struggling with, who am I? Who do I want to be? Okay, let me go work on my identity statement in my journal.
Perfect. So it's a tool that you have, even though it may not be something that you necessarily need to use every day. I do remember you telling me, because you came through the first 8 weeks, and then I want to ask you about this in a minute. You stepped into executive elite after. But I remember the first 8 weeks, there was a week or two or something happened, right? Like maybe you didn't show up, or, you know, for a QA call or something. And we kind of were like, we came and chased you down. Do you remember that?
Yes, I don't remember the exact specifics, but the thoughts I remember having are, oh, wow, they actually care and they actually want to make sure I do this program, because I've signed up for other programs over the years in other areas, you know, health or decluttering, and there's no accountability. And so, yeah, I'm the type of person that needs accountability. And you guys, you really do want to help people to live this life and to work the program and make things better.
Awesome.
So, yeah, without that, I would not have been nearly as successful as I was.
Yeah, no, we are. We're pretty serious. We like chasing people down, because we just go back to our old habits and we put work first, and then we don't do the program. And it's like, no,
Right.
you have to do the program. Okay, what was some of the first results that you saw? Do you remember?
Some of the first results. Well, I really appreciated the concept of the 7 universal needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always a mindset, and you've heard me say this, that, okay, you can have it all, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
And those 7 universal needs, and when you talked about it, when I heard you talk about it for the first time, and that's, you know, the reason why everybody makes the decisions or the actions that they take is they're trying to meet one or more of those needs, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
And the key is that all those needs are equal, and it's not a hierarchy. So, well, first I fill my health cup, then I fill my leisure, then I fill my work. No, it's, you have to be working on all of them at once and balance and identifying which one you need to go to. So I think just that concept and thinking about that as I go through day-to-day tasks and decisions, you know, that definitely helps.
Oh, that's awesome. Good. So you were starting to see, like, wait, I can have it all.
Correct.
Yeah. And you can. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Or any ancillary results that you experience? Because again, a lot of, you know, people come through the CWU door for help navigating that career decision or those career pieces, right? But was there anything else? Like, did you notice, you know, areas of your health, areas of your other personal relationships, things like that?
Sure. I want to say every area of my life improved. You know, my connection with my husband, just acknowledging and recognizing moments with my kids that in the past I would have taken for granted or not realized how precious they were, because it's as simple as sitting on the couch with my son while he's doing his games and I'm on the computer, but that actually is still time with my son. Also with my health, I had been trying to kind of fast track some weight loss and healthy habits, and through this program I was at a mental state where I was able to do that, even though that was hard, but the other areas were going well. So it was easier to kind of pick up and say, no, I'm going to do this. And I was able to make some progress there, which I hadn't been able to do in a couple of years. Yeah. So really every area of my life was positively impacted.
Yay. I love that. I love that. I know that's the beauty of needs, right? Like when you start recognizing that, even just relabeling in your mind, like what you're trying to do each day as needs, it's like you can start working on your health needs, because everything else is like, it's like the rising tides, or, you know, everything is rising. So everything starts seeing a result because of it. That's so
right.
cool.
Yeah. It's like a domino effect, you know, it's,
no, I think that's
one
great.
Starts going well, they all kind of fall into place.
That can all fall into place. Yeah. The problem is we're always trying to go like my job. And then if we can't get that fixed, then the rest of the dominoes can't fall. Once you kind of circumnavigate that a little bit, then it works out really well.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about, oh, go ahead.
I was going to add, the other thing I learned is that some of the strategies that I'm employing and started to employ over the last year are not necessarily in line with my company culture. But this program really taught me, well, it doesn't matter. You know, you're going to do the strategies that work for you.
Yeah.
And other people may be doing those strategies that are in alignment with the company culture. And in my opinion, they're really not working that well for them, but they still do it because that's just how
Right.
they operate. So, you know, sometimes I fall back into a guilt trap because of that. But then again, just going back to the tools and strategies and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and looking at my STEAM journal and looking at the fact that, well, I did what I did, yet got a promotion and then a, you know, raise and then a promotion. So that helps keep me grounded in that.
Yeah, and it's working. So it's obviously working. Yeah, that's great. That is a good point, because our companies have, whether it's written or not, they have a culture and how we're supposed to behave. But when you learn that you can navigate through that, around that, you can choose if it works for you or doesn't work for you in your management style. So empowering. It's just like a breath of fresh air. Like, wait, that doesn't necessarily mean how I need to create success in this environment is the way they're telling me. I can do it in a slightly different way that's more authentic and is actually going to get you better results. So
right, exactly. Cool. That's been key to my transformation over the last year.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. So after the 8 weeks of CWU, you kind of were like, hey, this is kind of cool. What else? So you stepped into Executive Elite, which is really our year-long, kind of more like a mastermind. It's a pretty exclusive mastermind for women who want to expand this into other areas of their life. So maybe talk about that decision. What was going on for you there? Were you seeing such results in the 8 weeks that you were like, I want to see what I can do, you know, how I can take this further, or what was it?
Right. So the 8 weeks, I felt that really helped me get over my work hurdles and get through the craziness there and get out of a place of, oh, I need to quit my job to be happy.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep going because, you know, yes, after seeing what I could do in 8 weeks, wow, what could I do in a year? And I don't, you know, I want my entire life to be up leveled, not just my career and work life to be up leveled.
I think that's so beautiful because, you know, Kristen, that happened for me too. Like once I sort of got the career piece started to figuring it out, I was starting to see that it didn't have to be hard. It could be easier than I was making it. Then there was all these other areas of my life that, you know, had really not gotten my attention to the fullest that I had wanted them to, you know, and it was like, oh, maybe I could up level all this other stuff too. Wouldn't that be grand, right? Yeah. Awesome. So yeah. And so Executive Elite was the next natural step for you as someone who is curious and wants to expand in all areas. So that's awesome. Any thoughts on Executive Elite? Like because it's different, obviously very different than CWU, things that you particularly have found valuable about it?
So what I find valuable is that it's a small group of women who are going through the same program together and have that same expectation or desire to up level their life. So, you know, I have friends but they're not necessarily all working on the same thing. We're working to get to that next level. And so it's so comforting to have a group to come to where they understand where you're coming from and they understand your why without really even needing to explain it.
Yeah.
And so it's just a great, smaller, intimate setting to continue that progress.
Yeah, totally. And somehow we lost you on video. I don't know if you can, there you are. Yeah, I think your computer might've gone to sleep or something there. Yeah, it is pretty special. You know, that has happened to me before too, where I can have these wonderful relationships with colleagues or girlfriends or, you know, the mom down the block or whatever, but they don't necessarily want what I want. And so I feel like when you're in those conversations, you have to maybe limit yourself a little bit, or just, you know what I'm saying? You can't really express or explore these other areas because you don't want to step on someone's toes, or there might be some competition or, you know, whatever's going on. So Executive Elite for you has been that safe place, but also that energizing space, it sounds like, for people who kind of, again, hold you accountable for what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that. You're such an amazing woman and client. I always love doing these interviews, just like everyone in the world will see this, but because I never know what you guys are going to say. Like I really don't.
Right.
You know? And so it's like, oh, this is going to be fun for me too, to hear this. For me, you know, working with you and with other women in Executive Elite, what's so fun about that is, and I think I've told you guys, it's sort of like, you find that great diet, or, you find that perfect place of the perfect blue jeans or whatever. And you want to tell all your friends and they're like, yeah, that's nice. But you guys are
Right.
like, oh, that's amazing. I'll try
Awesome.
those jeans on too. And we all
Yeah.
get to really live in that space where we have a common space of appreciation for what we want our lives to be like. I mean, that's a group where we're like, oh, we want extraordinary. You know what I mean? Like, we really want that elevation. So I love that. Cool. Well, any last minute thoughts before we go? Like, anything that you would tell, I don't know, another woman out there, like Kristen from a year ago, that,
Sure.
about you or your experience?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is this program works. So there are finite strategies and tools that are taught and reinforced so that you can elevate your life across those 7 needs. As I've already talked about, I am more confident, more healthy, more appreciative, more grateful, better listener, all that good stuff. And this program is the path to live an amazing life that now may seem unreachable, but it really is possible.
Oh, that's awesome. Kristen, thank you for those beautiful words. You are the best. Appreciate your story. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, we'll wrap it right there. I think that's just like the cherry on the top. Appreciate you.
Great. Thank you. Glad to help.
Thanks.